Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am your host, Saucy McFoodlefist, and today we are playing The Letter. In the last one, Ashton snuck around the Briar Real Estate Corporation and ran into the ghost of Lady Charlotte Ermengarde and barely escaped. And now we shall continue. As soon as the lift hits the ground floor, I hightail it out of the building. Seb's sound asleep when I pass by his station. However, in the face of what I've seen, everything I've faced tonight, I really can't care less who will still see me when I'm on my way out. The sooner I get away from this place, the farther, the better. I'm just not sure if that also means being safe. She almost got me, damn it. The fucking thing almost had me. Shit. It was only by luck that I managed to get that fucking elevator unstuck. Had the blasted thing not worked in the last second. I need some air. Fresh, breathable air that doesn't stink like death and gore all at once. I'm panicking. Christ. Losing focus. I can't afford that right now. I can't lose it when Zach and Rebecca might be in trouble as well.
Remember your training, Frey.
Another deep breath, and soon I'm starting the engines and driving off. After that little incident, somewhere open would be good. Someplace I won't get trapped. I thought you were going to the cafe, to be honest, but here we go. Luxbourne Park brings a welcome relief, though only by some. The chill that has seeped into my bones is still there, furling and unfurling underneath my skin. If I don't move, if I don't busy myself with anything, soon my brain will go haywire. It's the last thing I want to happen when there are plenty of things to do. But this already answers all of it, doesn't it? Those deaths. Just how many copies of the letter are out there? Isabella can't be the only one if other people are also getting cursed. Could it be that the one she has shown us is just one of 5? Maybe even more? That whole pass this to 5 people business is ridiculous, but at this point, is it still? All in all, I found 2 deceased people who might have read the letter, 4 if we count Cooper, as well as Isabella. And that's only with what I can find right now. I have no idea how the contractors and specialists hired from outside the company are doing, if they are in any way affected. How many more people are suffering? How many are missing? How many are dead? Can I still blame the Wrights for all this? If anything, they might be in danger as well. I don't think I can wish a curse upon anyone, no matter how big of a douchebag Luke Wright is. There's also that woman. How do we get out of these? How do we get out of this mess? How do we get away from her? Shit. Still so many things we need to look into, yet all my body wants to do is pace, burn out whatever excess energy there is in me.
I'm not going crazy, am I? I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw that. I didn't inhale anything weird. Just shit. Shit.
Of course, the panic passes on, replaced by another tense silence as everything sinks in, the awareness of the much bigger trouble looming over me. Us. We're in deep shit, and it has finally caught up to me and hit me like a ton of bricks. Because Isabella has been warning us since day one, and I'm the first person who brushed it off. Suddenly exhausted, I slump down on a bench and bury my face in my hands as every regret bears down on me. And in the stillness of the park, a plea slips out.
Isabella, what am I supposed to do? Tell me, please.
A desperation after all my failures, after all the things I've disregarded. All at the cost of the people I care about. October 30th, Sunday. Darkness blurs the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. A scream threatens to burst, but my throat closes off, ever so slowly. A chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me, apart from one. There is only fear. Once again, her laughter echoes, a sound bitter and unforgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colors. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the vague images that has driven me from my sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, though slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of unconsciousness from my eyes. The early morning lights already stream from the open windows when the memory sets in, and the room I'm finally in comes into focus. Not a room. My car. I've bunkered down here last night after my nerves have calmed. When you almost get trapped in a confined space, there's no question about staying somewhere open. Not again. She might appear any time. She won't catch me off guard again, that woman. Is she still one in the first place? Or that we'd normally call a human? Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain? Fuck, I'd take breaking and entering charges over whatever she was any day. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly towards the mess of papers I've gathered from BRC last night, a proof that none of it is a dream, no matter how much I wish for it. Then it shifts to the view outside, right to the line of trees and winding pathways. There are some already strolling about the place, a few people here and there, dotting the space my eyes can reach, but otherwise the whole park is empty. Quiet. For some reason, I can't stand the silence now, not when that woman's face has been burned into my eyelids. Whenever I close my eyes, I see her. It's a miracle I'm still able to get a few hours of sleep, even with that horrid laughter of hers still ringing in my ears. But then, maybe it's simply my exhaustion at work. You think I'm used to going 48 hours, maybe even more, without rest. And I am. But what happened at BRC has shaken me up like nothing else has. Thugs and criminals, hell, even crime lords I can deal with, but ghouls and the undead?
Well, I didn't sign up for that.
Seriously, this better not be the start of some sort of zombie apocalypse. Actually, maybe a zombie thing would be preferable. I'd at least know what I need to do. Shoot dead stuff until they're dead for good and leave figuring out how everything went to hell to the scientists.
Thinking about it won't change anything, though. She's just toying with our lives.
She's dangerous. If we don't do anything about her and the curse, we'll definitely be pushing daisies soon. I can't let what happened to Isabella happen to the others as well. I've dallied on this long enough, left all my friends in harm's way after the warnings they've given me. I do admit, I'm afraid. But beneath the terror, adrenaline keeps running, compelling me to take action. To do something. I still have 2 other people I need to check with. Isabella would definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them. God, I should have listened to Isabella. Maybe I don't need to outright believe her, but I should have listened. Then maybe she wouldn't be. There's no point in dwelling on what ifs and should haves. I can't do anything about the past. What I should be caring about is what might happen that I can do something about. With one last sigh, I start my car and slowly pull off the parking lot. Zachary has already been warned yesterday. I trust him not to do anything stupid. Rebecca, on the other hand, waited on a bad note last time. Might as well mend things with her first. Cold Luxborn air meets up meets me upon slipping out of my car. Not unusual in itself, this is what Luxborn's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp, and for the most part, and more often than not, terribly drab with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. The sky is still clear, but I'll give it a day or two before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about the awful rains for years, despite having lived here my entire life. I have to admit, though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. At least something's still normal in the world when I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare. That's probably all this is. Usually I'll say I've been through worse, but that's simply another lie I've often told myself, isn't it? And I've fed myself a great deal of lies through the years just so I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem, and if I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them someplace no one else will see, because I believe doing so is a show of that doing so is a sign of a show of weakness. Sorry. Z-Man has mentioned dreaming about a woman. Whether it's the same one we've been seeing, I've yet to ask. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Isabella already died because of it. Yet here I am, walking up Becca's door, one slow step at a time, a stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in a better order. How to phrase this when there's a 90% chance she's still pissed about a whole different matter. It's the only reason I didn't check on her last night. I'll only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like a babbling lunatic. And her anger can last quite a while. These past years, it seemed the only one she had been able to easily forgive was Isabella. I kind of wish she were here to help me talk to her. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking. Once, twice, and 3 times just to be sure Becca has heard me, even if she is asleep. She's usually awake by now, though.
Hey, Becca, it's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed.
Oh my god, if Rebecca is dead, I'm gonna be shook. Seconds tick by. No answer from her, and dread has started to creep up. I've been trained to handle dire situations, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently since last night. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and in the next minute, concern has mixed into my thoughts, and I bang my fist on the door, louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but I'd rather face her wrath than a dead body.
Becca, it's Ash. There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up, I know you're...
Your girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy.
Yay! Okay, she's not dead.
So if you could do us a bloody favor and shut up, that'd be real fucking polite.
My hand pauses, short of landing another heavy knock. From the other unit, Rebecca's other neighbor peeks in through his door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help from being devoured by their sheets, but it sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge asshole, too. Course of action, so people like him won't ruin your day, act like the nicest person on the planet. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the streets. No need to match his temper.
Oh, did she say where she was going?
I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something. Well, what am I, her keeper? You know some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down. Just looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, you damn git.
Well, there's no need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of here.
He slams his door shut without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colorful words at me. Probably thinks I won't hear him inside the 4 walls of his apartment.
Jerk.
And at the end of it, a sigh. So Rebecca's not here. I must have missed her by an hour or so, but at least she's not alone. She should be safe, in theory. More so if the person she's meeting with is who I am thinking. Nevertheless, I still can't help but worry. It's an easy thing, continuing down increasingly darker lines of thought. To act brashly, to find out where she is and go straight there without deliberating on my actions first. There's Zach to boot. Rebecca's not alone, but I can't say the same for the big guy. A simple phone call to the both of them should do the trick. It'll ease my nerves at any rate. It's better than rushing over to Zach's place or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts and finding out that they're not where I've guessed they should be. Assuming the worst will come next, which I'd rather avoid this early. Any other reason, I won't bother them, but an emergency begs for urgency. This is one, right? Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls judgment. Something I most certainly can't afford to lose at any given time, especially right now. Any means to calm it will do wonders for the muddled mess my mind is already in. Pulling up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends up on a group with only Zach and Rebecca and Isabella's numbers listed. The last one, I don't have the heart to remove yet. Other people will probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent, it's true. I can easily name about 100 people I've been acquainted with through the years, colleagues, blockmates from uni, neighbors, those sort of people. They all come and go. But these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking for anything. Unlike the others, none has Zach's kindness, Rebecca's patience, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day, these guys are just there. The next thing I know, being with them eases it. That heavy, somber feeling lingering in the air when you stand alone in your apartment, or something as simple as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness, but this carries much more depth than that. If I can help it, I don't want to lose the rest of them to some stupid curse. I've already lost one. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Honestly, I prefer being in the same room with them right now, but I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her. She isn't some helpless damsel in distress after all. She isn't the shy little girl I knew when we were children. We're already far from the people we were back then, but that's more than enough reason to check in on her. I don't have to imagine her taking anything head on. She'll do it, instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad at me, if only to know that she's fine. A ring. In the silence of the hallway, it sounds alone, might as well be as sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes. 2, 3. But when, on the 9th ring, it goes straight to her voicemail, a cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach.
Rebecca Gales here. You've reached my voicemail. Sorry if I can't get to you right now. Oh, and if this is Isabella, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge. Otherwise, leave a message.
Probably just busy, that's all. Though I still barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
Becca will be alright. Is alright. She's safe. She's with someone else. In the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might not have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Rebecca will see my missed call and she'll call me back. Though I don't express it enough, Rebecca is someone I consider important to me. She's been my friend for the longest. Anyone else would have been fed up with me and left. The girl stuck by me, no matter how big of a jerk I've been. There's Zach too, of course. I'll always be thankful for having them around. There had been Isabella as well. Her presence in my life will always be immutable, even if she's no longer here. The worst times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've already had my awful moments as a bratty kid and as a horrible teen. Issues. I've too many of them to count and refuse to deal with for a time. At least, that's what Andrew likes to tell me. I tend to think nothing of it. It has mellowed down over the years, thanks to the professor mostly. But at times, I do wonder if it still burdens me the way it did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back at it now, I have no reason to direct all my frustration towards everyone else. While I wasn't a kid who lashed out at anyone, preferring to keep it to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things, I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it, from my old friends back in my old school and the neighbors I've hung out with before moving. A habit I've likely brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything. All I keep thinking about was myself, wondering, why me? In retrospect, I was selfish, little bastard who thought the world revolved around me. That I shouldn't have been going through it. I believe my behavior was entitled, that I had the right. Tough times, but she stuck with me, snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it, whenever she sees the chance to bring it up. She didn't tolerate my bullshit, but she didn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing has made her stick around. Her concern may have grown a bit too overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend nevertheless. I owe her a lot. That won't change.
Damn it. Where are you, Becca?
Another message left on her voicemail, then on my third call, I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zach, on the other hand, that guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay. At the very least, whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking for is not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things. Rational or irrational, it doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers, or his voicemail at least.
Hey, it's Zach. Well, a voicemail anyway. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah? And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around. Thanks.
Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he has forgotten to charge it. Can't be. The guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout, even more than I am as a cop. He's the type who has extra battery. He is the type who has an extra battery or a power bank in his bag if he ever needs it, and he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got a quite roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. Zach is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
His mobile in and out of range area sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off my unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said, and even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to. Well, I can't be rash, I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. but if something happens, I'm certain my reaction won't be pretty.
Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson of my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe, though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good.
If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Zach's the one who puts up with me most of the time, even when he doesn't need to. It's not a case of cool cop who helped out a minority. In truth, I was hard-hearted, hot-tempered, and a reckless rookie up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie. But I've grown thanks to him. He tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impressions went, I'm lucky he stuck around. Becca and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach, he's probably the closest thing I have to a best friend, though it's more than that, a camaraderie no words can express. He has my back, and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having, only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Becca's neighbor did say she went out to meet with someone, no specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe she's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Regardless, I continued dialing for his phone another 3 times, like I've done with Becca's. In the end, after the 3rd attempt, with no one answering, I stopped and cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is, then.
I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them, just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Isabella's death has proven that. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with the anxious strings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. It's annoying me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dasher on Luxborn and Anselm isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's too big a place for one person to go searching for only 2 people.
That'd be like finding a needle in a haystack.
With one last frustrated glance towards the open skies, I prepare myself for the long wait. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. More so when it's the people you care about, and sure enough, boredom strikes minutes later, followed closely by anxiety. I need to be doing something, but what? I've already gone through those papers from the BRC last night, twice in fact, and I'm still at a dead end. If Rebecca were here. Hell, if Isabella were still here. Unconsciously, my attention drifts towards the closed door of her apartment, and it hits me the second my eyes land on it. A split second of idea. I didn't bother looking into this when we were here the other day, considering the reason, or even during the investigation. But Cooper died. Isabella would have most likely received all the files for the Ermengarde mansion. In fact, she might not need to. They were partners, right? It's no longer a trainee-mentor thing. They both likely have the same copies of the documents. She might still be leaking some in her room. Something she hadn't been able to give us because of the tragedy. However, immediately after that, after the thought forms, guilt also rears its ugly head. The fact that I'm thinking about breaking into her apartment leaves an uneasy twinge at my stomach. It's wrong. All of it is wrong, inappropriate on so many levels of the propriety that I adhere to. If she's here, I won't even consider this. Really now. But if she's here, will she allow it? My gaze swivels back to the door. It's as if the thing's inviting me. One thing's for sure, however. Knowing her, she'll do any possible means if it'll save her friends from this curse. She can be stubborn like that sometimes, and it's enough to harden my resolve. So, muttering a silent apology to her and swallowing my guilt, I reach up for my bobby pins and begin to work the lock. In under a minute, the knob clicks, and I quietly slip into her apartment. Whatever I'm about to find at the end of this, I hope it'll point me in the right direction. Okay, we are going to end the episode off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Or don't. I don't give a shit. And I will see you all in the next one. And, goodbye, everyone.